Hi everyone, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I thought I would share something that's rather fun. This is a design created by Amanda Dowling. Now Amanda had asked me if I would do the tutorial for her. She doesn't have the means to do one, and I absolutely jumped at the chance because my kiddo loves these turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And the fun things about these are they are your little Easter egg containers. So fantastic for kiddos at school, boys at school, when you're looking for something for your little chums. Or, I mean, Izzy, as I said, Izzy loves them. She's a little girl. So that's what we're going to be making today. So Amanda, thank you so much for trusting me with your design, and I hope I do you justice. What we're going to do, I'm going to do the orange one. I have no idea on names. I'm too old for this sort of thing. And I'm going to use a dark green. So I'm using the Rainbow Loom dark green, the forest green, and I'm using their orange, Rainbow Loom orange. I'm going to use some white for the mouth, the teeth, and black as well. We're going to do a little bandana part here. You are going to need some googly eyes. Now the googly eyes, I've already threaded mine onto the band of my choice, the colour, which is obviously, as I said, the orange. I have a video on how you can take a normal googly eye. It doesn't have to be adhesive or have the sew on, and it shows you how you can thread a band through it. Now, one of the new things that YouTube has allowed us to do is add little cards to our videos. So on the right hand side, up the top, you might see a little eye for information. If you click on that, I will actually have linked the videos that might be pertinent to you. For example, the video on how to do googly eyes, the beginner's guide to Loomigurumi, because this is going to be a hook only design, things like that. So you'll find that little eye is quite helpful to link you to videos that you might need. So video on how to thread your band through your googly eye. You're going to need a stitch marker. You're going to need an egg. These are the 3-inch large eggs that we're going to put inside. Okay, and then, as I said, you're going to need the colours. You can use a variety of colours. I've used the neon. You can use just the forest or the opaque, whatever you have. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can actually use a C-clip. That works just as well, or an S-clip. As I said, a 3-inch egg. These googly eyes that I'm using, I believe, are about probably 15mm. They're on the larger size. Alright, so let's get started. As I said, it's going to be hook only, but I do use my loom to show you guys how to do the magic ring. So if you don't need to use a loom, a peg of your loom to do this, that's absolutely fine. But if you do, we're going to do 4 bands in our magic ring. Okay, so take your first band, place it around your peg like so, and then we move our first band through like that. Do a little slip knot and budge it round. And let's do the same for the second band. Slip knot, join these together and budge it around. As I said, if you can do this on your hook, that's fantastic. Take that off your loom. Move these around so that they're more evenly spaced around. You want it to be a magic ring, not a magic semicircle. Okay, now I'm just going to move my camera so that you are in view. There we go. So if you have a look here, you've got 1, 2, 3, and the 4th stitch is on our hook. You're going to push your hook through that first stitch here. Okay, and we're doing an increase, and an increase means 2 single crochets in the same stitch, and this is our first stitch. So we're going to do our first single crochet. You pull your band through, take one side over the other, and join it to the loop that you've already got on there. You're going to go back through that first one. Now before we do that, let's get our stitch marker and pop that on there. That's to indicate this is where we started. Push your hook through that first stitch again, and let's do our second single crochet. Okay, now we're moving to stitch number 2. We're going to do the same, 2 single crochets in here to make it an increase, and this will increase the diameter from 4 stitches that you started your magic ring with to 8. Here's stitch number 3. Let's do 2 in here. 1, 2, and here's our 4th and final stitch. We'll do 2 in here. 1 and 2. We're back to the beginning. Here's our first stitch. Push your hook through. We're going to do a single crochet, and we'll move our stitch marker, and this will be our first stitch of our next round. Okay, that's our first stitch of our next round. Now our next round we're doing a single crochet, which we've just done, followed by an increase in the next stitch. So this is our next stitch. This is stitch number 2 right here. We're going to do an increase in it, which, as we've just done, is 2 single crochets. So here's number 1, back through that second stitch to do our second single crochet for our increase. Third stitch is a single crochet. Fourth stitch is your increase. Oops, let's make sure I don't drop that. There we go. So that's our increase, 2 in there, single crochet, and then in this one an increase. It's just a little pattern that you follow around. Single crochet and an increase. 1 and 2. So that's the end. Let's count how many stitches we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and number 12 is on your hook. We're now going to do the next round of 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So we'll push our hook through our first stitch, do our first single crochet, move your stitch marker, do your second single crochet in the next stitch, and then in the third stitch we do our increase. So here's our first single crochet, and then back through that third stitch for our second. So single crochet, single crochet, and increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and our last stitch is an increase. Alright, now we're going to do 3 single crochets and an increase. So push your hook through the first stitch where your stitch marker is. This is our first single crochet. Move your stitch marker to it. That was number 1. 2, 3, and an increase. One, 2, 3, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and an increase. One, 2, 3, and our last stitch is an increase. 1 and back through for 2. All right. Now, our next round is going to be orange for the bandana colour. You can do red, blue, purple, really doesn't matter. It's completely up to you. All right. So to change colours and to make it a little bit nicer, I'm going to do a little new technique. Normally I would have just gone through and you pull your next colour through, but you see these sort of lines and I think it looks rather messy. Okay, I'm trying to see if I've got one that I can show you. If you have a look here, you can see that it's kind of a little bit messy with how the lines, the colours join. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my colour that I'm choosing, which is orange. I'm going to pull it through the first stitch. I'm going to move my stitch marker. So orange is my first stitch. I'm going to add, so I'm not actually reclaiming yet, okay? It's like I'm doing a slip stitch. I'm adding that little green loop that was on my hook onto this, and I'm going to reclaim. I'm now going to put my stitch marker back on that top band, okay, right there. I'm going to leave this like this and go to my next stitch, all right, pulling an orange through like so. Let's make sure that they're lined up properly, and I'm going to do one over like that, like a little slip knot on this second one. I haven't even slip knotted this one yet, okay, but this second one is slip knotted, and then I'm going to pull that loop through these 2 loops like so. All right, and if you remember, we have 16 yeah, 20. We have 20 stitches around here, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So let's go round and we'll make sure that we still have 20. So that's how I've joined it. Okay, make sure my stitch marker doesn't fall out. We're going to go all the way around doing single crochet with orange. 1, oops, let's not lose my bands. Come back here. here's my last green here. So let's count. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 is on my hook. Now if you have a look, I'm going to take this stitch marker out here. We know that this is the beginning. If you have a look here, you can see that I have in this stitch, it's a bit odd. You've got the first 2 loops here and the second 2 loops are over here. We're going to ignore this loop here, which is the one that you automatically want to go to, and we're going to go to the 2 top loops. Okay, you're going to go to the 2 top loops, and this is to start our next round, which is orange. Pull your band through and do a normal single crochet and put your stitch marker there. Now if you have a look, it's kind of pulled it down so that it's in line and you don't have that nasty sort of let me show you on this particular, see how you have the other colour that bleeds through? So there's no bleeding through of a different colour here. Yes, there's a slight elevation compared to the others, but it was in the round before, so I think that that actually works quite nicely. So if you can be bothered with the fiddle factor, that is how I'm doing it. Let's get this stitch marker around the right way. There we go. We're going to do another round, so here's our next stitch with orange. Oops, let's not lose everything. Come back. This is our second round of orange. We're going to do 4 rounds of orange, but on the third round, this is my last stitch of this round. On the third round, which is the one we're doing next, we're going to add the eyes. So I'm back at the beginning. Okay, let's count how many stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 is on a hook. So see, we haven't lost any stitches, and I think that looks a little better than having a bleeding band through the other one. So first stitch here, we're going to do our single crochet and move our stitch marker. This is for our third. Now we've got 20 stitches. Okay, we're going to put our eye on the 8th stitch and the 12th stitch. Now this was number 1, so let's go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now number 8. I'm going to push my hook through. I'm going to grab my eye that has already been prepared, so please make sure you've prepared these. You're going to pull this side through as if you're doing a normal single crochet. Grab the other side, one through the other, like that, and just carry on like you're doing a normal single crochet. So that was 8, 9, 10, 11, so we're doing 12. This is going to have an eye. Pull it through and continue round. My last stitch of this round. Alright, so here we have it all happening. So first stitch of the 4th in orange, move your stitch marker, and you're just doing single crochet all the way around. That was 1. And the last stitch like so. Okay, so this is our little bandana. I'm going to put the orange away for the minute. We don't need those just yet. Now our next 2 stitches are going to be, or I shouldn't say 2 stitches, our next 2 rounds are going to be the dark green again. And again we're going to go through this first stitch, pull back a green, and attach that little orange loop to it. Let's take the stitch marker off. We know that green is the one we're working on. Okay, reclaim, go through your next stitch, and you're going to do your little slip knot with this one, even though you haven't done a slip knot with this one. 1 over. Now remember, we need to put our stitch marker on the top side of that first one, okay, and then pull this through like so and continue doing your round. And you can really make these any colour green you want, or you can mix and match them up. I've used the neon, I've used opaque, I've used forest green. So this is our first round in the green. We're doing 2. I'm getting to my last stitch here in the orange. Now, do you remember we have these, it's a funky stitch here. You've got these two loops at the bottom, 2 loops at the top. You're going to go through the 2 top loops and do your single crochet and move your stitch marker. Right, and you can count how many stitches. You should have 20. Let's go around again. So we missed this bottom loop because we've gone through the top loop. So this is our second stitch here. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 'Make sure you go through both loops. Oopsie. This is my last stitch on this round. This is the beginning of the next round. Now, for the next round, I'm doing black. Let's swap out my bands. And again, we're going to go through that first stitch. I'm going to take my stitch marker out, pull back a black band and add it to the loop that was on my hook. And oh, that was handy. Let's try that again. Go through, add the loop, and I'm sitting here with this like that, and I'm going to put my stitch marker on here. I'm going to go to the next stitch, pull it through, one over the other, so it's a slip knot, but this one is not. Pull this band, the one we just did a slip knot with, a bit slippery, through like that. Okay, and then we go around, single crochet all the way. They are a bit slippery. They don't feel slippery to the touch, but now when you're working in rounds, you find that your beginning spot migrates around as you work around. So whereas we started slap bang in the middle, we're now sort of on the side with our stitch marker. So when we come to approximate where we're doing the teeth, we're going to be doing 8, I think it's 8 bands in the middle. So back here, this is my last stitch for this round, and if you remember, for my next round I have to go through the top 2. Remember, we've got these 2 bottom loops here, and then we have the 2 at the top. Those 2 are at the top that we're going through. Do your single crochet and pull down and move your stitch marker. Now, as I said, we're going to do teeth, so we're doing black, white, black for the teeth, and we're going to do the teeth at the front here, so we have to really approximate. So again, skip these 2 loops here because you already did the 2 at the back there. So go in, go our first single, well, it's our second single crochet, and then we'll do a third, and I think we can start our teeth here. We want to do about 8 bands. One. Now I'm not going to be doing the colour change here. I don't think it matters that it bleeds through on the teeth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll see how many we need to do. I think 7 might be enough actually. 7. Like that. Maybe we should have started a bit earlier. Let's do that. It's easy to do because all you do is unpick like that. Go back to the one you want to change. Pop that out and put a white one in. Now I'm not going to edit that out because I want to show you how easy that is. To make an adjustment like that, it was really easy. Okay, so we started there. We'll do one more here. So how many did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. And then we'll do black. Again, you can make the mouth as big or as small as you want. Continue with black until you get round to the stitch marker. So I'm back at my stitch marker. I'm going to go through with a single black band, go through all of it and do a slip knot to tighten that off. And I'll remove my stitch marker. So that is the top. Okay, now let's see how that fits. Like so. Alright, now when the bottom is on, it will keep it in place a little better. But the other thing is, you don't want it so tight that it actually stops how the egg can close, because otherwise the kids will get a bit confused. So that's how that goes. Now we have a little bandana bit here to put at the back, but we'll do that after the fact. Let's do the bottom part for him right now. Okay, so again we're going to start with green, and this time we're going to do a magic ring of 6. So start with your first band once and twice, and now you're going to have 6 bands. It's 4, 5 and 6, and we'll do a magic ring with 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Take it off your loom. Budge around so that you have them evenly spaced. Push your hook through the first stitch, and we're doing an increase in each. Move your stitch marker to that first stitch. Back through that first stitch for a second single crochet, and now we're at the second stitch. We'll do 2 single crochets in here. So here's number 1, and here is 2. So we're doing 2 in each of them. Turn this one. Oops. Back to the beginning, push your hook through. Let's do a single crochet and move our stitch marker like so. We're now going to do a single crochet followed by an increase. So that was our first single crochet. We're going to do an increase, which is 2 in the same stitch. So 1 and 2 single crochet and increase. Single crochet and increase. Single crochet and increase. Single crochet, and if you're in doubt, spread this out and you can see that there's 4 little loops in that one and only 2 little loops in that one, so that will let you know whether you've done a single crochet or an increase. So in this one we've got 4, so we know that it was an increase, so you follow it by a single crochet, and then we're finishing on an increase. Back to the beginning, push your hook through. Let's do a single crochet and move our stitch marker like so. Now we're doing 3 single crochets followed by an increase. That was number 1, 2, 3, and an increase. 1 and oopsie, come back here. 2, first single crochet, second single crochet, third, and an increase. One, two, three, and increase. And then you're just going to finish with 1 and 2. You don't have room for the third. Move your hook through the first stitch, do a single crochet, and move your stitch marker into that space there. Okay, now you should have 22 stitches. If you want to, that was our first stitch that we just did there. Okay, so that's number 1, and if we count, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22 was on the hook. We've already done our first stitch. We're going to do, and let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 rounds of single crochet with the green. So mark out your 5. I do 5 little bands here, and I'll take the first one. Say, okay, this is round number 1. It saves me having to write it down and stop what I'm doing. Oops, let's do that properly. Back to the beginning, I'm going to push my hook through that first stitch and taking a band from the right hand side. I now know I have 3 rounds to do after this one. through that first stitch, move your stitch marker, let's go around again. Back through that first stitch, oops, try not to drop everything everywhere. Back to the beginning, push my hook through. This is my last round in the dark green. Move my stitch marker. If you want to check how it's progressing, grab the bottom and you can see you've just got a couple more rounds to do and we'll nearly be finished. So all the way around one more time with the dark green or the green of your choice. couple more green. Our next round is going to be single crochet all the way around, but black, using black bands. Here's the last one of green. Now, if you remember, for our seamless colour change, push your hook through the first one, and take out my stitch marker, pull that band back through and add the one that's on your hook. Replace, put your stitch marker back. And these become the top two and these become the bottom two. Go through your next stitch. Black band, pull through, and these ones you're going to loop over and do your little slip knot, and then you're going to pull that loop, if it stays on your hook, through those two loops of the black band, and then let's go round doing single crochet with black all the way. Oops, throwing bands at myself all over the place. Okay, so this is my last green stitch. I'm now going to look here. I'm going to push my hook through those two top loops. Remember how we had the two top loops and the two bottom loops? We've split them. Two top loops. Pull my band through. Get the stitch marker out of the way. Reclaim. Do my single crochet. Pop my stitch marker back in. See, it's slightly less obvious that we've done a major change in colour. Now, we want to do 9 white bands. We're going to just sort of gauge where we're going to be. You leave these two bottom loops alone because we've already done the top loops. So let's count our way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go to 7, I think. No, we'll start our whites here. We're going to do 8 of the whites. 1, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4. So it marries up with what's on the top layer. 5, 6, 7. We might just do 8. And 8. Let's have a look. We'll do one more. And do black to the end. 1, 2, I was second guessing myself. 3, 4, 5, 6, and back to beginning. Put my hook through and take the stitch marker out, pull it through, add the loop and tie a slip knot nice and tight. Okay, so this is the bottom part of the jaw, and if you slide that on and marry the mouth up, that's how it's going to look. Alright, now what we have to do is tie this in at the back here, and we're going to use these tie-off bands to sort of merge in as well, and I'm going to do them quite I don't want it to be right, the gap to be right at where the white is of the mouth. I'm going to go back just a couple on either side just so that I have a bigger opening. Now marry up where you want this to be, okay, and then what we're going to do, and it's difficult to view because you've got these, it's in black, alright, you're going to go through 2 of the stitches on here. So I've gone down 1, 2, and I'm on the 3rd pair on this side, and then 1, 2, and 3 on this side, okay, here. Now I have this tie-off band that really I want to incorporate into what I'm doing, and of course I've tied it quite tightly. Let's see if I can undo it a little bit. The little engine that can. Here we go, it's coming undone. So what I'm going to do, use my stitch marker actually, I'm going to undo the tie-off band from the top. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So I'm undoing that like so. I've got it on my stitch marker here so that I don't lose it. Alright, because I don't want to lose that. Make sure that these are approximated nicely. You're going to push your hook through that 3rd area here, but first capture one side of your tie-off band, okay, then go through the 3rd stitch, or actually you can capture both, then go through your 3rd stitch, okay. Take a single black band and you're going to pull through all of that and hold on to one end. You're going to go through stitch number 4 on that side and 4 on this side and reclaim. Get this other tie-off band out the way. You can just sit over here. Another single band, and you will pull through like that. Hold it. You're going to go through stitch number 5 and 5. And I don't know if it's 5 on this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It probably is, but you're marrying them up so that they're even on either side. Pull through. 6 and 6, and you also, and I've reclaimed, you also have the tie-off band here. So again, you can undo the tie-off band and include it on your hook, or you can just hide it under the inside the egg if you want. I think I prefer to have it looped in, so I'm undoing it. I want both sides of it like that. So I'm just going to put both sides on here. They're just going to be looped in just so that they're secure. You might have to twist your hook a little bit to get around so you don't snag other bands. And you're just going to go through and stitch this up at the back until you get to about the same spot, which I think we're probably at now, that we started at. So here we go. Now I'm going to reclaim. I haven't grabbed the bands here. I've reclaimed them. I'm going to take a single, go through, and I'm going to tie a slip knot. And that one I'm going to hide under the inside of the bands in here, like that. Now luckily the black bands can hide a multitude of sins, so I can see where I had that other join up, but it's not really going to matter. So here is our little guy with his opening little mouth. Alright, all we need to do now is the back of his bandana. Now Amanda did hers on a loom, and I'm not going to do mine on a loom. I'm going to do it on the hook because we've said that this is a hook only design. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. I'm using orange. I'm going to take a single orange band, wrap it around my hook once, twice and 3 times, and I'm going to slide that onto a pair of orange and reclaim. And I'm going to do this once. Let's try that again. Another pair. So that's 2, 3, 4, and one more pair is 5. Pinch and take off and do another one. 1, 2, 3, and you're sliding with 5 pairs. So here's our first pair. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to join these 2 together. Take this side off. Keep your little creation up near the center of your, the top of your hook. Take 2 bands and hold this and slide on so that you have 2 bands on this side. Reclaim so that you have the other 2 bands this side, and you're going to put the 2 bands from one side of the other bandana end on here as well. Take 2 bands and slide this one on to here, and then slide just this one, because this has already been slid on to a pair, so this is like that, and reclaim, and then you're going to put a pair on here as well for that end side, like that. So you're going to look like this. Now you're going to take 2 bands and slide all of them onto it, like so. Okay, take your egg. You're going to take one side off your hook if you can. So I'm in the middle about here, I think. I've gone through 2 bands. I'm going to replace so that I have it trapped in the middle. Take a single band and you're going to slide this through. Now you might have to twist your hook so that you don't snag anything. You're going to tie off at the top. So take one over the other and pull tight. And that looks a bit odd because you think, why is that at the top? Now you're going to go down through the underneath side of the bandana, come through the top like that, and pull that tie off band back down like so, and you're going to hide it under the inside of the bands on the egg here. Okay, and there is the little bandana for him, and that is your Ninja Turtle egg. I really hope you enjoy him. Amanda, I think this is the most fabulous little design. So sweet and easy and sort of fun, you know, for the kiddos for Easter. Makes things a little bit different. I really hope you guys enjoy making it. Take care.